Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's morning time. That's all I got.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. Come in, sit down, tea will be served promptly. And today, we are discussing on here, JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast, Revolutionary Girl Utena. But before we talk about Revolutionary Girl Utena, I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
Tony Ballantyne, the other one of the co-hosts.
Nick,
Yo.
the world has thus spoke Kashibe Rohan fever as it explodes onto Netflix worldwide, and I assume some people watched it. Certainly my former housemate did and messaged me about it today.
Oh, and did they enjoy it?
Yes.
Did they go, this might be the greatest thing I've ever seen?
They thought the last episode, which I believe was...
Treadmill?
No. Catching corn with your tongue challenge.
Wait, we haven't even watched that.
Popcorn. Catching popcorn with your tongue challenge.
Oh, yes.
They said that was wild.
They said it was outrageous.
And I'm quoting here. They said wild. Put that on the DVD case.
Liam S. Smith via roommate.
Unnamed former roommate. You know who you are.
You're out there. You're listening, I hope. And if not, then fucking
you.
You goddamn traitor.
Nick, we got a lot to cover today. I don't want to beat around the bush.
Okay then. Shall I just tell you who this episode is for then?
Yeah.
Or should I say who they for us? Because they are a Patreon.
Who they for us?
They are a Patreon on Patreon.
My name's Who They For Us.
Shit, I'm using that. So today's episode, Liam, is brought to you.
Me?
Straight up you. Not me, right? I don't get this one, okay? You get this
To
one.
the end.
Is Gale.
Gale.
Tickety tick on my list of people. Boom.
Gale.
Yeah, it's me, Gale.
Of course, Gale being a particularly strong sort of wind.
Hello, I'm Gale. I'm a particularly strong form of wind.
What are you here to do, Gale?
I'm here to blow you away.
Are you here to say?
Well, my name's Gale, and I'm here to say...
I'm a particularly strong form of wind, and I'll blow you away. Cha. Cha.
I create the tidal winds that keep us warm.
The moon is my friend, and I live in a dorm. Thanks, Gale.
Yeah, Gale, you've done good for 4 lines,
Yeah,
you know?
You get a bit of a rap.
No one will ever proceed to make the entire rap, but you know what? You can, Gale. You can.
And of course, being two exceptionally white men, the best we can muster is high school incursion educational rap.
What about First Amendment rap?
What the fuck are you talking about?
What's that? You know the Simpsons bit where it's like that guy is like
Gonna paint your wagon.
Oh wait. Here comes what's the other guy's name? It's
can't
like Clint Eastwood and some other guy.
yeah.
Anyway.
He's always drunk and violent.
Now what are you doing with that there wagon?
You missed a spot.
Gonna paint a wagon.
Gonna paint it fine. Gonna use lead-based paint because this wood is pine.
Oh god, it's good.
Look, guys, that's not a great episode of The Simpsons. It's a clip show, but go back and watch it.
I mean, every episode from seasons 1 to about 11, I would say, are pretty good.
JoJo World continues to loom on our collective horizon. I think it's a little over a month away now, and we're all holding out hope for some sort of Part 6 announcement, but frankly, I'm expecting a PS5 game.
So, JoJo World is not the amusement park thing that
No,
they had
it's
going?
the media event where all 5 extant JoJo voice actors will be there.
Are they going to do anything with
Unclear.
those? Okay, cool. They'll just be there and it's like, you can have a chat to them.
If it were the UK, I'd be expecting a new line of audio dramas starring each JoJo, if this were Doctor Who.
We've partnered up with Audible.com. Audible provides you with, and then you just walk out the room.
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
shut it off because Audible, of course, is one of many Amazon-owned sub-companies
Yep.
exploiting writers and artists for corporate profit.
Love it.
Nick.
Yes.
Revolutionary Girl Utena, Episode 8, The Great Curry High Trip, or Curry Hide Trip.
Yes.
This episode,
I don't see
it's a
any...
real pulling from the spiritual school of kangaroo fight episode.
It's really going for that feel of, but what if we just took a break?
A mishap during home economics has caused Anthe and Utena to switch bodies.
Ooh.
Nanami, accepting the blame for this mishap, sets out to find the cure for their predicament.
Classic Nanami.
Classic.
Accepting the blame.
A lot of being attacked by animals in classic Nanami fashion.
Yep.
They all hate her.
One specific animal,
Yeah.
which we will get to.
Yep. Nick, I found I did a bit of internet research between this episode and the previous one.
Why did you say that so weirdly?
This is how I talk. If you haven't pondered onto the way that I communicate by now, we've got a problem.
But you just said, normally you'd just be like, Nick, I did a bit of internet research the other week. But this time you were like, Nick, I did a bit of internet research.
Well, Nick, I would say the reason that I intoned like that was because I was trying to pick the words as they were coming out of my mouth.
I see. I like it.
And I found the commentaries from Kuniko... God, I always get this guy's name wrong. Kunihiko Ikahara, the producer of Revolutionary Girl Utena, and the staff's commentary, episode by episode, as released in the booklet accompanying the 2011 box set release of Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Interesting.
Now, we've got a bit of a backlog from the episodes that we talked about before we covered... I found this.
What
that
we're
we
doing
covered
now.
before I found this.
Yep.
I know what I'm saying. So I don't want to just go through all of those right now.
But highlights, maybe?
I do want to talk... We'll work through them all in a bit of a backlog fashion individually over the next few weeks, like we did with our old Words of Wisdom from Hirohiko Araki.
Of course.
But I want to share a couple of quick notes.
Okay.
I think I'm going to end up doing, including the ones that cover this week's episodes, I think I'm going to end up doing 5 of these today. So we're going to be catching up over the next couple of episodes.
When you say 5, you don't mean 5 complete entries from these...
Words of Wisdom. Yeah, I do. What else would I mean?
It's just like JoJo's World back in the day.
So just episode 1, because that feels like the right place to start, to be honest.
By all means.
During the process of getting from the plan to the production deal, I needed to convey the image of the show to a lot of stakeholders in a way that would be easy to understand. So I made the written plan and it's something like this type of thing. And in fact, it got the gist across, and I think that's what got us the green light on the production. Nice and vague.
Yeah.
However, when we finally entered the production stage, I was plagued with worry. Suddenly, I was brooding over what the show's originality really was. Style of expression is key in a TV series. A unique individuality. A mode no one has ever seen before. There was this pressure of, I have to make this a show with a special type of visual expression. That's the only way people will want it.
Do you reckon he's achieved that so far?
I think so.
Yep.
This is one of the more unique anime series that I have seen, I am proud to say.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, so many of them are pretty boilerplate, so that's not a hard bar to cross.
Yeah, no.
I decided to use Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.
We're already talking about the Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.
How could you not? It's said at least once an episode.
It's true. What about this episode, though?
Yep. In the next time on, they always sign off with
That's true.
Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.
That's true, they do.
I decided to use Absolute Destiny Apocalypse, and that prompted a switch to flip in my mind. Within myself, I could sense that this would be a special show, but it was hard to explain that specialness to the public during pre-production. I talked about the story, I explained the characters, but no matter how bombastic I was, nobody understood me past the level of, it sounds like an eccentric show. So all through pre-production, I had these pangs of guilt, like I was deceiving someone. And then, the first episode was given sound at last. It was complete.
Okay.
The impression of the first stakeholder to watch it was something along the lines of, what is this?
It was done.
That's about right. That was basically our reaction to the first episode, right?
It was just like, it all came together. It was finally done. I could show it to the public. The masses would see my work and reel before me for the mastermind I was. Their reaction? What is this? What have you made?
So that's basically just a long preamble to, I worked hard on making this show and I brought some unique ideas to it and I was really worried people wouldn't like it.
And then I got to the end. People were a bit confused.
Now, I wasn't going to talk about the one for episode 2, For Whom the Rose Smiles, today, but then during our watch, you raised some questions about the reusable footage of the chicken and egg monologue.
Yeah.
So this is basically a whole note about that I wanted to share with you to elucidate some of the thinking behind it.
By all means. Because my question was, is it true that if a chick doesn't break out of the egg, that it does die in the egg?
Well, I don't have an answer for you on that.
So you're telling me the one question I have will not be answered, but any other question maybe that I have posed to you, i.e. none, will probably get answered here.
Yes.
Hit me.
It opens with a quote from Demian, the story of Emil Sinclair's youth by Hermann Hesse,
What the fuck? Okay.
which was, of course, a story published in 1919 with a prologue added in 1960. And it tells the story of a young boy in middle-class upbringing amid what is described as the Scheinwelt, a play on words meaning world of light or world of illusion.
Ooh.
Sinclair's entire existence can be summarized as a struggle between two worlds, the show world of illusion, related to the Hindu concept of Maya, and the real world, the world of spiritual truth. But I digress. This is the most professional our podcast has been in a while.
Don't worry, just
Who
go
would have
with it.
thought
Just
that
go with it.
research and content would bring...
Would go hand in hand.
Apparently this novel has a strong Jungian influence.
I don't know how I feel about this now.
Nick, what are your thoughts on Jung while I try to get back to the page that I'd pulled up?
I appreciate that Carl Jung set forward a whole what is the subconscious? What is this whole thing? But I don't appreciate the bits where he's like, what if we're all connected by psychic energy?
Yeah, that's so kind of like how Freud has no merit beyond literature criticism right
Yes.
now. I feel like Jung's got no place now beyond putting a Jungian archetype in a piece of fiction and being like, that's spooky, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just it's shit. I hate it. When they're just like, what if the archetype was based off stories? And then stories are like, I get it. I understand it. So what if it's just like real people? It's like, no.
And what if our collective understanding of the world makes these concepts real?
Ugh.
The quote, "The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must first destroy a world. The bird flies to God. That God's name is Abraxas."
Okay, hang on.
So that's the quote from Demian.
That God's name is Abraxas?
Yep.
The hell does that mean?
Why don't you look up Abraxas?
I'll do no such thing.
Okay.
How dare you?
He's getting out his phone.
I am not getting out my
For
phone
the sake
at
of
all.
expedience, I'll start the quote.
Okay.
When I was in middle school, my classmate T recommended me a book by Hess. He said, "Inside the book is everything about me." I didn't know what he was on about. However, that particular quote stuck with me. One day long afterwards, he and I met up, again after not seeing each other for over a decade, and I brought it up again. What was that again? He didn't even remember the book existed, let alone that he'd recommended it to me. To think he just forgot everything about himself. I wondered if Hess wasn't needed in the world he lived in after middle school. In which case, I wonder why I didn't forget. I experimentally added another passage to Hess's. "If we don't crack the world's shell, we will die without being born. Smash the world's shell for the revolution of the world." Assistant director Kaneko Shingo and I discussed Anthony's character time and again because I was obsessed with the idea that whether or not it was good, inverted commas, nobody would want to watch a dark and depressing show. The cooking smock over gym clothes was the result of our conversations, and she finally turned fun. No, she turned into a mysterious girl. Parentheses, exclamation point, end parentheses. Now, this point is in italics, so I assume it is of utmost importance.
Okay.
Anthe is another Utena.
What? I'm sorry, can you just repeat that for me?
Anthe is another Utena.
How?
In the initial stages of planning, I thought of the main character as someone who wants to be a prince, but at the same time also wanted to remain a princess. However, I decided to divide that personality into two different characters. What did "also want to remain a princess" mean? I would agonize over the expression of Anthe for the entire series.
I see.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Abraxas.
So Abraxas.
And I promise we will talk about 2 episodes today.
Abraxas is a word of mystic meaning in the system of the Gnostic Basilides? Basilides? Gnostic Basilides? Being there applied to the Great Archon. In Greek, Megas Archon.
Is this what it sounds like when I read things out?
The princeps of the 365 spheres. The word is found in Gnostic texts such as the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, and also appears in the Greek magical papyri.
Okay, so it's a spooky spiritual thing.
It's a thing. It's like... Yeah.
So I've got one more note that is not directly about today's episode.
Okay.
But it is about, watch out, Miss Nanami.
The fun episode.
Yeah, well, one of the fun episodes, as we found out today.
Oh.
This episode originally went into production as episode 8. It was in production as episode 8 during scripting, storyboarding, and even after animation started. But it got switched in the broadcast order with Carried High Trip, which broadcasts as episode 8. Because that episode fell behind schedule. Because I always called this episode 8 during the production process, the impression stuck in my mind to this day is Curry is Ep 6, the kangaroo is Ep 8. It's a comedic story, but it shows Nanami's feelings for Toga. This wasn't just about Nanami, it was also about how we'd present Toga. The original plan was to connect stories with a Toga episode's theme. First in episode 8, we'd show Nanami's feelings for Toga in a comedic way, then in episode 9, we'd show Toga in contrast with Koichi Sayonji. Then in episode 10, we'd show Toga using Nanami's feelings for him. And finally, in episode 11, spoilers, we'd show Toga facing off against Utena. I'd just used a group of 3 identical characters before in Sailor Moon S. It was strangely fun, so I tried sticking them in this show too. The staff liked them too. It was probably more like the staff found them convenient. So we turned them into semi-regular characters. These are those 3 identical boys that Suwabuki beat up.
Yep.
It's largely thanks to Miss Hayashi, the animation director, that the production troubles weren't reflected in the quality of the episode. I like how Toga looks so unnecessarily cool during the climax when he defeats the kangaroo.
I mean, unnecessarily is probably the best conceivable word.
I would say it was very necessarily. Okay, so that's all the backlog that we'll be covering today. In future episodes, we'll catch up on episode 3 on the Night of the Ball, the Sunlit Garden 2-parter, and the Unfulfilled Jury.
Okay, but today's episode...
Oh, God. Curried High Trip, and we're almost there, Nick. 1 episode note to go.
Okay.
Before the other one that we'll do later.
So 1 more note to go before the 2nd episode note of today.
Yes.
So Curried High.
Trip.
As
I said before, this was planned as episode 6. We'd originally contracted an outside studio to do it, but a few days before ADR was supposed to start.
What is ADR?
That's like audio. I mostly hear it in terms of old live action. It's like when they post-record audio.
So when they do the voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right, okay.
But a few days before ADR was supposed to start, it became clear that virtually none of the production was done. We hurriedly swapped it with episode 8, broadcast episode 6, in the schedule. The whole series of knockabout insanity that got bandied back and forth there was traumatically intense. I don't want to assign blame and try anyone in absentia here, so I won't talk any more about it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Drama.
That was not a good... Wow, drama in Revolutionary Girl Utena. Who would have seen it coming?
But if you were to ask me whether I hate the episode because of that fuss, I'd say no, not really.
Oh.
In fact, there are many parts of it that I'm quite fond of. I think the colossal effort the staff put in with their backs against the wall like that sublimated the episode's cheapness into solid humour.
Okay.
The scene where our heroines' daily lives with their switch personalities are strung together with snapshots. I've thought for a long time that the audio mix was kind of thin there, but in this 5.1 remaster, it's finally got nice, lively sound. Which reminds me, what had me worried during our production was this episode's climax. Which scene is the climactic one, I agonised. Looking back on it, maybe it was the part when Nanami slipped on the banana peel.
Okay. Was that it?
That's it.
That's the whole... Okay, that makes sense for this episode, yeah. We open.
So we'll return to that in probably like 40 minutes time.
Oh, God.
When we talk about episode 9. But for now, episode 8, which, given that we're already running long...
Oh, God, it's already been so long. Okay.
We can probably move through at a pretty brisk clip because there's not a lot going on here, let's be honest.
This whole episode boils down to 2 events, really, when you think about it.
Okay, so we start with the Utena is a Child Prince prologue, which I feel like knowing about the troubled production of this episode may have been to fill some time.
Maybe.
Because it's not relevant really to this episode at all, but is intensely relevant to the subsequent episode.
Oh god, yes. But also it just reminds me, who is Utena? Not Anthe.
She's a small girl, she wants to be a big boy.
You know who she is.
Yeah,
she got the personality of a prince.
It's home ec class. The first time we've seen anyone go to a class.
Literally in this entire season, I think.
And we don't see Anthe and Utena doing home ec class from within the class. We see from the raised building across the way that Nanami is watching them do home ec class through opera binoculars.
And she's there going, oh, and Utena and Anthe in home ec class, right on schedule.
Who would have thought
In
they
a
would
school.
stick to the class schedule?
Oh, those fools.
And her cronies are like, haha, yes, we switched in the special extra strong curry powder.
from India. It's 100-fold spice.
Just wait and see. Soon your mouths are gonna be so spicy and it's gonna be so unpleasant. Classic, regular level of intensity high school prank, right?
Of course.
Not, like, frankly, Nanami's dropped her game. She's not secreting animals anywhere.
She's not trying to possibly get them murdered.
Yep.
She's not falling in love with a strange young man who inevitably she'll use for her own ends.
Frankly, this might be the most normal we've ever seen Nanami.
Yes?
Just one scene.
I guess so. She's just being like, you idiots, I'm wagging school. I'm gonna pull a prank on you with some curry. This is gonna be great. Unfortunately, her minions reveal to her.
They're like, oh, you should know, we didn't switch in the 100-fold curry. We switched in the special Indian
9 billion-fold curry.
secret Pa-own ultra spicy 9 billion-fold curry.
And Nanami just goes,
What?
the what?
The school is rocked by a massive curry explosion and like smoke billows from the home ec room as if there had just been some sort of bombing.
Everyone screams. They're fearful.
And we are treated to the joy of the chicken and egg monologue because an emergency student council meeting has been convened to address the injuring of Utena and Anthe Himamaya in an apparent bombing.
Why did we clap to that?
Because we love the monologue.
They may be dead.
They're all
Many have been
silhouetted.
harmed.
They go to their huge cathedral-like student council. Dark void, which is only characterized by a huge iron rose frame and red velvet curtains.
My original question remains. If a chick doesn't break out of its egg, will it die?
Well, it certainly won't live. And it will run out of nutrients and oxygen in there eventually, I assume.
But is such a thing even possible?
Why not?
Well, I mean, I would have just thought the chick would just break
Chick's
out.
gonna be like stillborn.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not afraid to get dark. I'm like
Yikes.
Revolutionary Girl Utena here. It's 1 minute, it's all sweetness and hijinks and elephants, and the next it's serious sociological commentary.
Oh, fuck.
Let's talk about capitalism.
How did I fucking know? How did I fucking know?
Okay, big problems. They've all been injured. Even End of the World didn't see this coming.
Now, that's a problem because End of the World has prescient future sight, maybe?
We don't know.
We don't know anything about End of the World.
Mickey is like, this is all my fault. I told Anthe that I wanted a really spicy curry.
And Toga Kiryu is like, now, no one's to blame. You can't be held responsible for the bombing that just occurred due to curry. And I think Jury's there.
Jury's
yeah.
like, I'm also in this episode, basically.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, can't be held responsible. It's a bit shit.
Right,
But whatever.
see you next week. But not even next week. See you in like 2 to 3 weeks. Anthe, Jury out.
Yeah, we assume she'll come back.
I'll be in my trailer.
They're just like, oh no.
Kiryu gets out his tiny cell phone.
And he's like, it's me.
It's me. And we don't know what the deal of that call is, really.
Yeah, maybe it's End of the World. Maybe it's not. No one knows.
They've been released from hospital.
Utena and Anthe are just walking along, and all the girls obviously are like, ah!
Even in these quick shots, we realize something is different because of the way they are holding their school bags. As Anthe has hers slung over her shoulder, like Utena usually does, and Utena is holding hers with 2 hands in front of her in the demure way Anthe might.
Oh, very strange.
Wakaba comes and glomps Utena, as she is wont to do, and Utena slowly collapses underneath her, and is like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so demure. And she's framed in pink roses.
And Wakaba's like,
Huh.
that's...
You know, in retrospect, it probably wasn't a good idea for me to bodily jump on you just after you've been in a bombing incident.
You know, I'm really sorry, but also I thought you were stronger than this, Utena.
And that's a wrap on me, Wakaba. I'll see you in 3 to 4 weeks.
So, after we get that delicate little snowflake moment, Anthe is approached by the 3 bitches again.
Nanami's cronies, and we see Nanami watching from the shadows later in this scene, and they're like, you have been really full of yourself lately because you're living with Utena, that tomboy.
And then, we hear Anthe get slapped,
Yep.
and then Mickey just is there behind
Behind
Nanami,
Nanami.
just going, hey, what are you doing
And
here?
she's like, ah!
Yeah.
He startles her by clinking his stopwatch.
And he's like, hey, what's going on? What's Anthe doing over there? Did she just get slapped?
Oh my god, who would slap Anthe? I should go help her. Wait, because...
Anthe slaps back.
And they're all like, why would you slap us?
And Anthe...
What have we ever done to you?
Anthe is framed with her hand like...
Backlit.
Her glasses are
glinting.
glinting. And like, she looks as if she's ascended into the gates of Olympus itself.
Even my own mother has never slapped me, the head mean girl says.
And then Anthe just says something like, if you wanted to fight, why don't you get real? Clench fist.
And she's speaking with Utena's voice actor.
Yeah. So before we had Anthe's voice actor for Utena, now we have Utena's voice actor for Anthe.
And Mickey is like, whoa, the innocent Miss Himamea, who I put on a pedestal and have kind of an unhealthy fixation for, acting so unladylike. I'm so distressed.
This isn't her at all.
Oh, I'm Mickey.
And Anthe gets framed as like, yeah, I'm a badass now. What of it?
They repeat the basketball sequence from episode 1, but it's Anthe playing instead of Utena.
And she's doing really well.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wow, Anthe's
Wow.
so cool.
And Utena is doing the gardening like Anthe usually does. And we get a series of spy camera shots capturing their in the daily lives.
Anthe's playing ping pong.
And we
Utena's
see...
just chilling with
So
some animals.
this next scene, it's revealed that the mean girls, on Nanami's orders, have been spying on them and taking photos of them going about their daily lives with switched personalities. And throughout this whole scene, first a few girls, then Mickey, then Kiryu, they all come up and like, as just background to the actual discussion going on, are buying copies of these photos.
Yeah, so the girls are like, oh, they're so cool. And Nanami's like, you're selling them? How could you sell them? It's like, well, they have a very strange appeal. And then Kiryu's just there going, well, you know.
No, because first Mickey comes in and is like, oh, I feel so bad for them having switched bodies. Also, I would like to buy some photos of Anthe, please.
Of course. Wouldn't we all, given the opportunity, purchase photos of people that we like looking at?
So the way that Kiryu is introduced into this scene made me laugh aloud, which is rare for me.
I would say not when watching this show.
Okay.
But
This show taps into my emotions like few things have been capable of doing recently.
So you literally were like,
Yeah. So Nanami is talking to Mickey and like sells him the photos and turns away. And like it turns away with like a whoop camera noise and she turns into the profile and then just on the other side of her, Kiryu is just there talking.
and she's like, oh, my brother.
And he's like, oh, I see what's happened here. And she's like, oh, they've all swatched bodies. And then Kiryu was like, yes, I would also like to buy some photos, please.
And I think Nanami's like, why are you buying photos?
You too? And she's got like 90s anime angry face.
Big brother, how could you?
The whites of her eyes are just the color of her flesh and her mouth is huge.
Ah.
And then Anthe and Utena are there and like, aha, we understand you've made us switch bodies because of hijinks. We figured it would be you two. And Kiryu is like, it wasn't us. And then Nanami is like, yeah, my brother would never do such a thing. It's all me.
Which is just glorious, Nanami.
Classic smooth brain Nanami. She's not very smart.
I mean, she's smart enough.
She's devious, but she's not very smart.
Yeah. She's trying to be
She's
smart.
got a lot of blind spots, particularly where her brother is concerned.
But to be fair, don't we all have a little soft spot for little old Kiryu?
And she's like, forgive me, big brother. I just switched the spice
spice.
into the mix so Anthe could make us all delicious curry.
I just wanted her to taste
I
the
wanted to
geriatric,
help.
mind-altering, psychotic melange spice.
Geriatric?
Yeah, that's what they call it, geriatric.
Okay.
Yeah, the geriatric spice melange.
I just wanted them to get beautiful blue eyes and psychic powers.
I just wanted them to bring about a revolution on Arrakis.
Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Revolutionary Girl Arrakis.
Revolutionary Girl Paul.
Revolutionary Girl Paul Atreides. Not Chani, don't have her. We'll have Paul Atreides.
End of the world, where the world, of course, is
Dune.
Arrakis.
Oh.
The Dune world.
The Dune world.
Great.
Excellent. We
That's
thread
that-
that needle
that's that
hard.
riff.
It's like we took a fucking fire hose and we went, can we fit it through this tiny needle hole? And we got there.
So, like, low-key psychopath Kiryu vibes here that will be expanded on in great detail next episode.
Yep.
But Nanami's like, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And he's like, okay, I'll forgive you, but until you get more spice, you're never allowed to come home again.
And Nanami, of course, in her wise ways goes, that's absolutely fine. Anything for you, big brother.
well, we've got to go to India to get the spice. And Nanami's flying away in the plane like, wait for me, I'll be fine. And then the three girls are all crammed into the window behind like, we hope we'll also be fine too.
Now, I have a question about this.
Yep. And then Kiryu is just watching on the tarmac.
Just waving. But is this at the school?
The school airport?
Yeah. Because this is framed like this, right? There's a
I
shot
also
with
have a question.
Yeah.
Is this Japan?
There are some mysteries that can't be solved.
Everyone's got Japanese names, so we should probably assume so.
I mean, I would assume... Well, even if they weren't Japanese names, we'd be like, is this Japan, though? Like, just imagine, okay, you're watching an anime that's been translated differently, right?
Oh, and they've done the Phoenix Wright thing where it's California.
Exactly. And all the people's names aren't Japanese
Tommy
names.
Kiryu.
Exactly. They're all kind of like puns of the name.
Like how in Sailor Moon, they changed her name from Usagi to Serena.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Because her princess identity is Princess Serenity.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. Serena Serenity.
And they changed her name from Ami to Amy with Sailor Mercury.
Ah, because her princess identity is an emergency.
She doesn't have a princess identity. She's just a sailor.
Oh.
The only one who's
Wait, she's just
they
a
are
sailor.
they are all princesses, but the only one who really gets a distinct princess outfit and princess identity is
Sailor Moon.
Queen Serenity.
Oh, it's been too long since I watched that show.
Though there's this man called Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really help per se, but he
he's
provides essential moral support.
He's there in the background going, "Don't worry, Sailor
Except
Moon."
for when he gets turned evil, which is frequent.
Is the last episode the one where they finally get together and then go, "Let's give up our crime-fighting ways"?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
You see, what happens in your general arc of Sailor Moon
okay.
is that
You do some good.
Usagi
you fight some baddies.
figures out that she's Sailor Moon.
Yep.
And then she helps her friends, the other Sailor Senshi, figure
Uh-huh.
out that they're the Sailor Senshi.
Yep.
Sailor Venus was a character in a previous manga called Sailor V.
Right.
So she kind of had her own thing going on, but then she just folded into the crew.
Okay.
And then they it's like, oh, let's go down to Queen Beryl's ice cream parlor and give her all our energy. And they do that for like 10 to 15 episodes.
Okay.
And then Tuxedo Mask gets turned evil.
Uh-huh.
And they have to rescue him, and they do. Mm-hmm. And then there's a final battle where all of the Sailor Senshi die except for Sailor Moon, who has to win. Mm-hmm. And in the process of winning,
They all lose their
all
memories.
their friends are revived with no memories, and she loses her memories. And then we repeat the cycle.
It's classic storytelling. Classic time loop.
It's the hero's journey.
You go out, you come back, forget everything that you learned.
The magical girl with 1,000 faces. And it gets the shadow puppets, and they're talking about karma or divine justice.
Divine justice.
And then it's
well, that was quick.
Utena in Anthe's body doing the high jump, and Anthe in Utena's body watching and clapping. Like, wow, it sure does seem pretty weird to compliment your own body, Anthe. Yeah, but I like to see me be good at sports, because I'm not good at it.
Ah, evidently
Unclear
you are.
why you're so good at it in my body.
Yeah.
Same muscles.
I was gonna say. So she's like stretching, being like, we got to figure out a way to like switch our bodies back.
Oh, I'm sure Nanami's being fine. Cut to India where they're being chased by elephants and screaming.
Interlude.
Point. Okay, so there's a Sayonji scene here. I want to change bodies back, says Utena. Sayonji keeps hitting on me. Look, here he is now.
And Sayonji's there being like, hey.
This is
Anthe.
kind of the only, like, significant characterization moment of the episode, other than, like, this insight we get into Kiryu.
But even
both the
then,
Kiryus.
it's still kind of funny.
Yeah. So Sayonji shows up and he's like, hey, come with me to the secret gym room. And she's like, no, but she goes.
She is, of course, Anthe, and is like, oh, but Anthe would because she's so nice. Oh, no.
And Anthe in Utena's body is like, do you want me to come with you?
I'm like, no, it's fine. She's like, okay, have fun.
And there's this, okay, quick cutaway back to India again, where all the minion girls are in the back of a truck with snakes, and Nanami is riding up front. It's like, well, I'm glad you gave us a lift. Those elephants gave us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, not a worries, mate, not a bloody worries.
Do you know where we can find the spice? And then the car is like headbutted by a herd of elephants and flies away. It's going to be a recurring theme in these cutaways to India.
Fucking love it.
Should we just talk about these cutaways now? Get them out of the way.
Nope, do them one by one.
We've got to be efficient today. So the next one, they're climbing a mountain. Tink, 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 tink.
And then this one we were like, okay.
They're using
this is getting somewhere.
pitons and climbing pickaxes.
Yep. And They go, okay, we just got to get up this mountain. We should be just fine. Wait, what's that in the distance above?
An elephant runs down the vertical cliffside,
Begins falling at very fast speed.
takes them all out. Then they're all in a boat in India sailing across
they're
the
on
ocean.
a bridge.
Oh yeah, bridge. I forgot about the bridge.
Single reed bridge, classic.
Yep, like a rope bridge.
Yep.
And then an elephant charges down the other end of the bridge.
Breaking the bridge in the process.
Yep. And then they're all in a boat in a stormy ocean. It's like, we've got to get the spice. And then a huge wave with 5 elephants surfing on it, on actual surfboards, upright, bipedally, crashes into their boat and destroys it.
Incredible.
Is that the last cutaway we see?
I believe so.
Great.
But at least the last one with an elephant.
So Nanami's just having a fun time getting tormented by animals yet again.
Specifically, the elephants of justice. Karma, the vengeful elephant.
In the gym storage room,
Sayonji is being weird and creepy.
he's like, I've so looked forward to this day where we consummate our love. Let me open my shirt. And Utena in Anthy's body like covers her eyes with her hands, and looks away. He's like, no.
I don't want to see
Not
this. It's like,
Sayonji.
look at me, Anthy. Look at our love.
And she looks, and he's just opened his jacket to pull out his exchange journal.
He's not wearing a shirt though, so that's a bit weird.
He's like
but...
got it open, because I guess he keeps it close to his heart at all times.
Oh.
Sayonji sucks. Like, just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps talking about his true love and their secret love, and like how he truly deserves to be with her and she truly wants to be. He keeps hitting her with his hands and with his sword.
Yes.
He's not okay.
So he's basically like, we were always meant to be together. I'm a manipulative asshole at the best of times.
Anyway, here's the exchange diary right in it. And then later that night, it's Utena in Anthy's body at the table in the dorm room being like, oh, do I have to write back?
Oh, I really don't want to do this.
Maybe I should just give it to Anthy and she can write back, but then she'll know I know about it.
Oh, hey Utena, is that a Sayonji secret journal?
Yeah,
Oh, be sure you be nice in it. Can't be rude now.
but I don't want to. Oh, you don't think we should write back in it anymore? Great, I'll throw it in the bin, says Anthy.
And Utena in Anthy's body is like, Jesus Christ, no,
We're
we
just
can't
gonna
just...
throw it out. Like, I don't like the guy, but it's like, he's got sentimental attachment to this.
And Anthy in Utena's body is like, well, I was just doing it because you never said it wasn't okay. But if it's not okay, then I'll just get rid of it.
yeah, if it's not okay, I can kill him if you want.
Oh my God, Anthy. Just, look, it's fine. I'll deal with this problem, okay?
Hey, what's the big idea? You're such an extremist, Utena says.
And so basically Utena begins reading this journal and trying to figure out, okay, what the hell do I even
Okay,
write?
I'll try to write a nice, sincere response.
So she opens it up to a random page.
And it's like, I still dream about when we were engaged. I cannot wait to feel your skin again.
I will defeat that Utena tomboy and take you as my own prize.
And next
my
page,
love.
there's a mean sketch of heroic Sayonji with Anthy affectionately clinging to him over like ugly bald Utena
Who is crying
with
meekly.
a sword sticking out of her.
And so Utena's like, wow, okay, this is really
And she's
sad.
like, getting really angry, pulls out a big red marker and is like, I'm gonna write the perfect response.
Which we found out later, not really, but close enough.
Yeah.
Although the funniest lead up to that
yeah,
moment,
yeah.
holy shit.
Okay, Sayonji is in the rose garden.
He's just there waiting for Anthy to show up.
Anthy, even now I think about you, our rosy life together. And then Kiryu's there.
Oh.
Sayonji, quite unusual that you'd be in the rose garden.
Yeah, that's where I bloody hang out, mate. Why? What are you doing here? You know?
Oh, the rose bride will soon be mine again. Oh, yeah?
Is that what you think, Sayonji? And then
Utena
Anthy?
comes up,
Oh, sorry. Utena in Anthy's body shows up being like,
really putting on the Anthy persona.
Sayonji!
I'm here.
Hello.
Read this beautiful message that I wrote you. Once I started writing, I just couldn't stop.
Oh, it was just so hard.
Rose frame, as if romantic.
And then Sayonji looking so vindicated.
flattered, yes.
Just being like, she's come back
Your
to
true
me.
feelings, I understand.
She's finally learned how she actually feels about me.
Anthy and Utena's body and Mickey show up just in time to see the humiliation. And it just says dumbass in big red markers, and
And we get in a spotlight moment.
just despair. And then everyone else is like, Nanami's back. Let's run in a really strangely animated way over to the front of the school.
And they all happily run over, leaving Sayonji in the dust.
Choo Choo was on the school steps eating a banana. That's important. And Nanami gets out of the limousine, and she's tan, and she's like, India changed me. I'm strong now. I found the spice.
Utena and Anthe are like, oh, thank fuck.
I'm really getting sick of being Anthe.
Jesus,
People
really
keep
do not
slapping
want
me
to
in the
rub
face.
Oh my god, it's unbearable. Don't know how she does
How
it.
many slaps have we had so far? Let us count the ways.
It's been 6.
Sayonji. Sayonji. Mean Girls.
Yep, Mean Girls.
Mean Girls.
Yep.
Does the one in this episode count?
Of course.
Okay, because it's the intent.
Yes. So
The
more
intent
mean...
is to slap Anthe even though they slapped Utena.
Yeah, so more Mean Girls. And there's one other one.
Nanami?
I think it was Nanami.
Yeah, Nanami because was it Nanami when
She turned around and then got
when we
slapped.
thought she was alone?
Yes.
Or was that the Mean Girls again?
Or maybe Nanami was... I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay, yeah, I can't remember. It's Sayonji. Mean Girls when Nanami apparently rescues her.
When Nanami... Yep.
Mean Girls when Nanami has clearly set them on her.
Yep.
Jury.
Jury. You're right.
And then this episode.
And then this... So 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we forgetting one?
Next episode.
Because this is episode 8. And it's happened in every episode but one so far, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and next episode there'll be one.
But does that mean we're missing one?
From this episode?
No, we've got this episode's one.
I don't think so. I think there's just been 6 so far.
Okay.
And then next episode we get 7. I believe.
Was there one in Watch Out, Miss Nanami?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the one that we didn't have it in.
And also the second part of the Sunken Garden.
Exactly. Yeah. We figured it out.
Great. So that's 7.
6 slaps, soon to be 7.
Yep, great.
What a show.
And she's running. It's like, Big Brother, I got the spice. You'll love me again. Oh,
No,
I
the-
slipped on Choo Choo's banana peel. Roar of an elephant, symbolizing disaster. Oh no, there's an actual elephant there
Yeah.
that Choo Choo is playing with.
And its trunk blows a mighty wind, which blows the spice, the secret of prescient vision away.
This was their last batch of spice. It takes 200 years to make more.
Oh no.
So
and then,
Divine Justice cut away.
yep, from the puppets, and they're just like, see, divine justice.
Utena is despondent because she's going to be in Anthe's body forever, but Anthe has made everyone a nice curry. But they can't eat the nice curry yet because Sayonji is outside the window. And he's outside the closed window delivering a monologue to the still table like, I can't believe you wrote a mean thing in our exchange diary. I demand you take it
hang on.
back and write a nice thing.
No, we need to set the scene properly, right? He's standing outside the shut window door, right? The curtains are open, but kind of half open.
Yeah.
We can't
It's
hear
a long
him properly.
still shot.
One long still shot of the table as they're sitting there looking at him awkwardly as he's talking through, again, can't hear him through it properly because he's muffled, through this fucking window as he pours his heart out being like, Anthe, I can't believe that you would express such feelings towards me in our exchange journal.
This is going to be the influence of that rude Utena.
And Utena's right there
Yep.
at the table.
Yep.
And everyone else is just also there, like Nanami, Mickey, who else is there? Is any of the Mean Girls there?
The Mean Girls have just come in before this actually to be like, we found the curry in the school supply room. It
right.
wasn't opened. It can't have been the curry. It must have just been Anthe's cooking. So
and then-
that revelation has happened.
Yep, and
then
Kiryu's there, and it's
yeah.
just, and then he just shows up,
does this
this
speech.
huge monologue that goes for probably about a minute, to be
Yeah.
honest, or at least 30 seconds.
And like, there's no direct acknowledgement of this at all. We just cut to Anthe in Utena's body making everyone curry again, being like, Sayonji, sit down, eat this delicious curry. And he's like, okay, that seems reasonable. Oh no, Choo Choo is eating a bite at the same time.
And then omph, boom, there's another bomb explosion.
Yep, Anthe and Utena are back in their own bodies. They're telling Waka about the whole situation.
And Wakaba's like, oh, but whatever happened to Sayonji then?
And then Choo Choo's body is wearing a little kendo gear and has a
Sayonji haircut.
yep, and is doing kendo practice.
A bit like if Kirby ate Sayonji.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. And he's in his little outfit, he's doing kendo practice.
And then in the jungle, the mighty jungle, Choo Choo in Sayonji's body is up a tree eating bananas. And that's the end of that episode.
And I believe the legendary quote we got here was,
Choo. Choo Choo. Choo. We all stan Choo Choo. And we need to talk about Nick, how Nick has never heard the term stan before today.
it's not a real thing!
It is absolutely a thing.
What is Stan?
Well, Stan is a streaming service available in
I
Australia.
don't mean the streaming service available in Australia now at a low, low price of $10.99 a month. I'm talking about the fucking... What is this speech thing, this stand that you speak of,
Speech thing?
a turn of phrase, a thing that you say.
So it comes from the Eminem song Stan, which is a song about an obsessive stan. An obsessive stan in the modern parlance. An obsessive fan.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up a nice dictionary definition for you.
Okay.
And this is on the Oxford English Dictionary, Nick.
Okay.
An overzealous or obsessive fan of a particular celebrity. In a sentence, he has millions of stans who are obsessed with him and call him a rap god. Verb. Stan. Y'all know I stand for Katy Perry, so I was excited to see the artwork for her upcoming album.
This is not real. This is not a real thing. The Oxford Dictionary's lied.
As I said to you when I found out you didn't know this, log on.
God damn it. Okay, so you're telling me that Stan is just like, man, I'm all about this guy. I love this guy. This is the guy I want to have, like, sing at my funeral.
Stan Twitter is a community of Twitter users that post opinions related to music, celebrities, TV shows, music, and social media. The community has been noted for its particular shared terminology. Usually people there were discussing celebrities' personal lives.
What?
Credit to the 2000 song Stan by Eminem. By Eminem.
Eminem.
They do exist. Who does exist?
But how have I not heard this ever before? Like, what? Who uses it? Who uses this term?
It consistently surprises me for a man who has an anime podcast and is generally on the nerdy spectrum of things.
I am.
How surprisingly offline you are.
Well, just remember that I did recently tell you that I purchased Dune, the board game.
Stan Twitter has been noted for its aptly fanatic culture and behaviour. Vanity Fair highlighted American pop singers Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, and Korean group BTS as artists who have extremely fanatic fan bases.
Bind, torture, sing.
They also credited those... Yep, okay, sure. Also credited those fan bases and Stan culture and its associated engines with helping propel the popularity of music videos for those artists. Like, remember when...
Billie Eilish?
When BTS Stan Twitter made a deal with leftist Twitter to like help promote like various bail funds and like suppress various right-wing hashtags in exchange for left-wing Twitter streaming the latest BTS single a lot.
I do not remember this, but I'll believe it. I would absolutely believe that there was some kind of weird movement to help capitalism by people who dislike capitalism.
Elle Hunt of NME wrote...
Hunt.
That's her name.
Hello and welcome to Elle Hunt.
Most of the time, standing is harmless. It's old-fashioned fandom for the internet age, but often, standing manifests as a kind of blind, unquestioning devotion. The kind of thing that leads the BTS army to talk about their idols like they're gods on earth who can't be criticised, and added that at its worst, standing can lead to threatening behaviour, mob-handed bullying, and it can even turn on the object of affection. Now you know about standing.
Do we have any stands?
Don't think so.
Oh, I wanted to make a deal with other parts of Stan Twitter and be like, excuse me, in exchange for...
I'm Stan Twitter, founder of Twitter.
Hi.
I refuse to kick the Nazis off my platform.
To be fair, everyone needs a voice, except maybe a few of them.
Episode 9.
We did it. We're an hour in, but we're getting there.
The castle said to hold eternity. And this is the
one we need to spend the most time on.
Oh no. The commentary note. There was a little princess, and she was very sad, for her mother and father had died. That's a fragment of the myth that we tell in the prologue. Living on. It's just making me sick. That's in quotations.
Okay. Wait, as in, it's just making me, quote,
This is
sick?
a quote of what sad little girl we presume is Utena says in this episode.
Okay, right. Okay.
We lined up plot development and visuals suggestive of the series' climax. Our goal was to, quote, get viewers anticipating the series' final scene.
Oh.
Utena saves Anthe. So that's what the story's about. But what does she save Anthe from? That's the central issue. Two boys discovered an unusual toy one day. What? That's what it says.
Sure.
You got hold of it, didn't you? That's right, I have it now. Really? That's when the game began.
This is
Does this
just
read more coherently in Japanese, I wonder?
This is just as surreal as the show.
It often happens that a relationship becomes stifling because of a shared past. Even if you have no particular interest in a toy, when you find out he has it, you think, I need it too. They
That's
say
how
that.
this podcast worked.
What do you mean?
It's like, Nick, I'm thinking of starting a podcast. Oh, you're starting a podcast?
Well, I've got to get involved.
Well, I need to get this podcast too.
They say that in that world, only one princess is chosen. So basically, this is speaking in ambiguous terms, but it's talking about the rivalry slash friendship slash relationship.
Between Kiryu and Saionji.
Yeah, where it seems like
They're the best of friends.
Despite like spending the comedy episodes talking about Saionji's love for Anthe, part of it is just him wanting to possess the Rose Bride so he can win over Kiryu.
Yes. If not everything he's about.
Yeah.
But why, you may ask?
Well, that seems to be the question at the moment.
Yes.
And the IMDb summary for this episode. Saionji and Toga have always been at odds since they were children. It's really quite underselling the events of this episode.
Yeah. That seems like a bad IMDb blurb. But then again, aren't we all?
All the girls are excited because in the Kendo Hall, Saionji and Kiryu are going to fight each other with Kendo.
Utena, in the hallway, normally just standing there reading a book, turns around and goes, they're fighting.
And there's huge build up to this duel. And it's like lots of cheering girls, and they're all represented by Kendo Bokkens,
Yep.
which are like setting themselves up in the stands and leaning towards the fight as if to,
Peer closer towards
and
the
shouting like,
climactic events.
Toga, look at me, you're so cool.
So nice. And then a shot
Get
of
him,
Toga,
Saionji.
shot of Saionji. And then
Yay,
they're all
yay.
cheering, all jeering, all
Whoa.
getting closer and closer. We get some close-ups of their posing.
Yep.
And then
a broom is like, everyone shh.
shut up. Let them duel.
And as I said to you, it's so much easier to animate inanimate objects cheering than it is to actually animate people. And then we cut to a crowd shot as well. Everyone's black silhouettes, and then one of them fades into being Utena.
And she's like, Saionji and Kiryu.
The duel is over instantly.
Because they just have one of those samurai movie moments where it's like, yeah!
And then Kiryu wins.
And they're like, wow, he's not just a playboy after all. He really won this time.
He really is the student council president.
Wow.
Wow.
I wish I was dating that guy.
Well, I guess we don't need to be here anymore.
Utena's like,
Oh, someone's like, he really is a prince. And Utena's like, prince?
that's not true. That's all I got from that one. Kiryu's like,
Oh, you scamp. I beat you again. Don't be angry.
Saionji's like, man, fuck you.
We're not friends.
I hate you.
And Kiryu's like, aren't you my only friend?
Yeah, true, he did say something weird. Hang on.
Something
Saionji-
weirdly sad.
Yeah, Saionji was like, ugh, I don't know if we're
Don't call
really-"
me friend.
And then he's like, don't you know, you're my only friend? And then Saionji's like, huh. And Utena's like, huh. And then we cut to the Rose Garden.
It's the Rose Garden. Choo Choo's playing with a pill bug or a slater or whatever you want to call it, and a frog eats it, and then he sends the rest of the scene fighting the frog in the background. Saionji walks up and sees Choo Choo in his way, and is like, you're always in my way.
Why must you always deny me my fate?
And Choo Choo's just wrestling with his frog and crying. And then Utena's there to actually have a conversation.
Yeah. Utena's like, you. What do you want? Why are you here at the Rose Garden?
Saionji's like, I'll beat you in the next duel and get Anthe. And he's like, what's your deal, Saionji?
Like, why do you need to just be the worst?
You can't even beat Kiryu. How could you ever beat me?
And Saionji's like, Kiryu.
We've dueled so many times over the 10 years we've known each other.
We get
Wow.
a brief flash of like cherry blossoms in the background in like a samurai sunset style thing.
We always duel, but next time I won't lose. I want the Rose Bride. Do you really love her? Yeah, that's why I need to win, because I hate Kiryu.
And then we get a shot of Kiryu winning in that same cherry blossom scene.
He sensually ties a bandage on Saionji's hand.
And then Utena's like, you've known him for 10 years?
You're just treating her like a pawn. Do not approve.
And Saionji's like, a pawn, you say?
Together we will take possession of eternity, he says.
And then he puts his hand on the window.
Hand on the window. And throughout like the course of this scene, he's gradually applying more and more pressure.
To the window.
And then the glass cracks from the pressure of his palm on it. I turned and I said to you, like, oh, great, we're going to have to get out a guy to fix that now. Thanks a lot, Saionji.
Again, being the worst. But that hasn't happened yet because we flash.
An extensive flashback sequence to when they're young boys riding home in the rain from duel day, and they see a huge cathedral full of lights.
And Kiryu stomps the bike. Saionji's riding on the back, holding dearly onto Kiryu. They're both very young, probably almost 10 years ago, I would dare say.
We could assume.
We could assume even more.
They're both still 6 feet tall.
And they look back, and Kiryu's like, huh, A funeral.
And some people are there. Some men are like, have you seen a girl? She disappeared from our sight.
Her parents just passed, and we're very worried about her.
We don't think she might have been spirited away, do we?
Difficult to say. And Sayonji's like, did you hear that, Kiryu? They might have been spirited away.
And then they go and look in the church where there's 3 coffins for some reason.
Kiryu is fascinated by this. He just walks on in there. There's 3 coffins there.
And there's a shot where the lightning strikes over the window frame to like frame the whole thing in a cross. And it's all very Death of Caesar and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 Battle Tendency.
You got deep flashbacks. You're like, Caesar.
Yeah. 3 coffins. Let's open the 3rd coffin. How do I know which is the 3rd one? I just do.
So he opens it up, and Sayonji's like, don't do this. Don't do this. No, don't do this. Flash of lightning. And then coffin lid is open.
There's a little girl in there who has the unidentified black void skin that we've become so accustomed to.
Of course.
Huge shock of pink hair.
Pink hair,
So,
eh?
and she's lying on a bed of pink roses.
Pink roses,
from,
eh?
like, basic appearance of this character and also the symbol of the pink rose, we've got no choice but to assume at this point that it's a young Utena. But frankly, I'm expecting a twist in our future.
Ooh, but what if it is just Utena?
Then that would be very straightforward and understandable.
So, Kiryu's like, what are you doing in the coffin?
She's like, don't open the coffin. Let me stay in the coffin forever. My parents are dead. I just want to die. I've been through a lot right now.
Well, what if someone else finds you in the coffin?
And he's holding her hair, just like how in his first episode he grabbed Utena by the hair and stroked it.
And he's sort of like trying to kind of calm her or just examine the hair deeply.
And he says, hey, I'm always an ally to girls.
You were extremely amused by that statement.
Toga Kiryu, self-possessed
Nice guy?
self-professed feminist ally.
I'm always nice to girls.
Especially the ones that I use for physical pleasure then cast aside in the act of manipulating others.
We got to talk about that bit later. Anyway.
I'm always an ally to girls. I'm chivalrous after all.
And she just basically says, well, if someone else finds me, I'll just hide.
My parents are in those coffins over there. So this one must be meant for me.
I don't want to do anything. I'm depressed. Everything's bad.
Why do I have to go on living? And Sayonji is just kind of there.
Watching as these events unfold from afar.
There's no such thing as something eternal. And he's like, something eternal? That's a phrase that I'll keep using in this episode.
Is this where we get the flash of Anthe looking up at the castle?
No.
Okay.
Kiryu is leaving, and Sayonji is like, we can't just let her stay there. And he's like, well, then show her something eternal. And the bandage falls off Sayonji's hand in a potent symbol that I didn't quite understand.
And then lightning strikes the cathedral.
Yep.
More symbolism? Difficult to say.
The next day, we saw the girl at the funeral, and she seemed fine. I just knew that Kiryu had done something.
My dinner with Andre had gone very well.
So the question is, the big outstanding question, because they keep emphasizing throughout this episode that Kiryu is being like, and he's obviously deliberately
Vague
manipulating modern day Utena with this, but he keeps being like, your prince is someone like me, isn't he? And he's trying to like build that association in her mind to create a weakness in her.
Because a mind trap, if you will.
Takes a very explicit heel turn at the end of the episode.
So it's just like,
my assumption is that... Sorry to cut you off.
So it's just like that bit in Arrested Development whenever they're just like, so
Mr. F.
No, it's like, so you wouldn't want to disappoint your father, would you? No, I wouldn't. Oh, okay. And it's just like, it's always alluded to that the real father is the other George Michael. And it's like, now we wouldn't want to get on bad terms with your father. It's just like that. It's like, well, now, you're not really the prince. Is someone like me, isn't he? No, of course not. You're an asshole.
I don't want to make fun of you too hard for just trying to come up with off-the-cuff dialogue.
I can't do it.
But you just said, you're not really... Your prince is someone like me.
I just cut myself off halfway. It's fine. We'll just deal with it.
So my assumption
is that
Kiryu and Sayonji unknowingly had an encounter with young Utena here. But...
Big but.
Sayonji is mistaken in his assumption that Kiryu did something to
Utena
to like restore her strength and be the prince from the prologue. My assumption is that the prince from the prologue is a separate entity
who lives in the castle,
who lives in the upside down sky castle and has been descending to possess Utena in duels.
Okay, fuck yeah, but What if it's actually way more simple? What if Kiryu is the prince and we have to come to the realization
That Utena needs to be her own prince because he's
Exactly.
kind of a shitbag.
Yeah, and turn into a car in order to
Because the car symbolizes
being a car.
motors, horsepower.
Yeah, something like that, right? Maybe. So Kiryu's just watching this funeral,
Yeah.
being all like, "I did that."
And Sayonji's like, Kiryu's always been better than me. But me and Anthe, we're gonna get in that castle and then like find the eternity in there, and then we'll be together.
So
and
there's
that'll
a-
show Kiryu
There's a shot where Anthe's looking up at the castle,
from
being
the
like,
dual platform.
and it's like, that castle, it contains eternity. I wish I could go in there one day.
Silhouetted student council meeting. Mickey Jury
Mm-hmm.
is sharing with Mickey and Kiryu. Like, she came to the school because she wants to find the prince from her childhood, and Kiryu is basically like, aha, she's a romantic. I can use this. So Utena is just on the roof of the school, staring at the sky and thinking about her prince.
Yep.
And then Kiryu sneaks up behind her,
And it's all like, hey, do you want some
puts
tea?
a cold can of pop, I assume.
No, it's tea.
Why tea?
Because it says on the can, tea.
It sure does, but it's cold and it's a can.
Yeah, cold iced tea.
And he puts it on her cheek and it startles her. And from that moment, he has her on the back foot in this discussion.
Encounter of
And
social
then
webs.
He gracefully throws her the can with his arm outstretched.
And he's like, Utena, could I offer you a conversation?
From behind, you seemed so lonely. What if I were to sneak up behind you and whisper, I love you?
I'm always an ally to
That
girls.
wouldn't really be in my character, would it? I am, of course, making a reference to a very frequently repeated piece of dialogue in our recent Patreon episode, Haruhi Suzumiya's Endless 8.
Wait, when was there the I love you?
That's when they're on the roof in the stargazing and the girls are falling asleep.
Ah, yes. If I just came up behind her and whispered into her ear,
I love you, he says in English.
But I couldn't do that. I'm missing a certain something.
Yeah. Kiryu's like, I'm missing a certain something. You see, I'm an intelligent psychopath, so I could never show true affection like that.
My eyes, they'd give it away.
So she's like, fuck off, I'm having a moment here. What do you know about the Sky Castle? The Sky Castle?
Why, no
What
one-
is it?
No one knows anything about the Sky Castle.
Why, that's the Sky Castle where you'll meet your prince someday. Does End of the World dwell in the Sky Castle, and is End of the World the prince? These are the jokes, people. The questions, rather.
Yeah, I was going to say, the jokes, they're not really jokes if they're just things that are going to happen. So then Kiryu goes in for the kill.
Utena's like, hey, who told you about my prince? And then he swoops his hand around her waist and is like, I'm like your prince.
Aren't I?
And she's blushing.
And she's like, stop this.
She's pink rose framed. He's white rose framed.
And he's like, your prince is
Like me.
someone like me.
She runs off.
And she's like, don't...
She walks off. She struts off, blushing.
Yeah, she's just like, Jesus fucking
Turning
Christ,
away
Kiryu.
so he can't see her blush. And then he's like, oh, ain't I a stinker? Scull the tea.
Boy, oh boy, I've earned this one today.
Sayonji, in his office, lit only by the detective-style shades of his blinds.
As we hear, do 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 do.
What's this?
This is a double bass walking bass line that every detective movie has.
Okay.
So just say what Sayonji would be saying in a detective film as I go.
Well, the problem is, like,
Come on, man.
you need to do the theme from Taskmaster.
Wait, what's the theme from Taskmaster?
It's like, got a lot of horns.
Oh, because of the envelope
Yeah.
looking like the envelope from Taskmaster?
Yeah, he's like...
Because it has a wax
so he
seal.
walks in, and it's a red wax seal. It's like the same.
All wax seals are red.
He walks in, and Alex Horn is there, and he's like, hello, Sayonji. And Sayonji's like, Alex? Oh, what's this task? Oh,
In order to gain affection of Utena, you must first...
kidnap and... Not Utena.
I mean, sorry, in order to gain affection of Anthe, you must first
you must kidnap her.
No, I was going to say, you must get 10 eggs into this bucket without touching the eggs.
Yeah, you are not allowed to touch the red carpet. Your time starts now.
And then he just looks up and goes, is this real? Am I doing this? And then... So how did we all do? Sayonji, Kiryu, Utena,
Okay.
and Anthe are all there.
It's difficult to know enough about all these characters. Yep. Okay, end of sentence.
Who is...
Our Taskmaster panel for Revolutionary Girl Utena is obviously every member of the student council.
Yes.
Toga Kiryu.
Yep.
What are their other names?
Sayonji.
Mickey, Sayonji, Jury.
Nanami?
We'll throw Nanami in there.
Okay.
And even though it's normally only a panel of 5, we've got to put Utena in there.
Of course.
And then the Taskmaster is End of the World, who we will assume is this white-haired Sky Prince.
Who lives in the castle for all eternity.
Yeah. And
then
the
Anthe
Anthe is the Alex Horn offsider role.
Yeah, so Anthe is the one
Very
saying,
obsequious.
they all did very well, they all did a great job, but unfortunately, I have to inform you, you've been disqualified.
Let's see how Nanami did at the kangaroo fighting task.
And I can just imagine. Wait, who's the Joe? What's his name? The guy. He's in like Countdown a lot. Well, 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown a lot, where he just shows up drunk, just being like, more nor how. He's got a big bushy beard. I think it's like Joe.
Beard.
I was gonna say Joe Hildebrand, but that's not his name.
I don't know, a beard guy.
And he's just very like, oh, come on now, mate. I just wanted to. Just please, I just wanted to help you out, mate. Just wanted to help you out in all this.
I don't know, at this point, Taskmaster is basically the only panel show I watch.
Wow, you don't watch 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown?
No.
Wow. What a sad state of affairs.
And he throws down the open envelope on his desk next to the photo that he keeps on his desk of himself and Kiryu as youths.
Oh, we're back in the episode. Right,
Yep.
gotcha. I was just thinking Taskmaster.
And he's like, this task. Yes, I can use this.
So, we don't yet know what's in the envelope, but it is from the end of the world.
We assume.
We assume.
We have no reason to think otherwise. Why would we?
Because we just said so.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Quick shadow puppet play about UFOs and believing in UFOs, and it's all very to again make another reference to patreon.com/JoJo's World's most recent bonus episode. It's very similar to the opening monologue from the first episode of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, where the protagonist Kyon is like, I used to believe in magical things where I was a kid, but growing up, you've got to stop believing in magical things. But they also add the wrinkle of when I was young and naive, I also believed in good people and true friendship. But now that I'm older, I know that's not true. So please just let me keep believing in UFOs.
This is all I
I
have.
don't ask for a lot, but just let me believe in UFOs.
Goes on for a little while, and then
It's nighttime.
Utena is at home, and she's like, where the hell is Anthe?
Anthe's missing, but worse, Choo Choo's gotten into the crisps again.
That son of a bitch, he's never going to lose weight at
He's
this
just
rate.
bodily in the crisp bag, chowing down.
And Utena's like, God
Where
damn it,
is your
Choo-Choo."
mistress?
And Choo
Very
Choo
Shakespearean line of dialogue. You there, boy, where is your mistress?
Why, she's in Christmas Hall, my lord.
She's in Christmas Day, sir.
What? Christmas Day? But that's not for another week.
Boy, run down to the store and get me the biggest sword you can.
Oh, but sir, I'm but a poor orphan boy.
When will we stop doing Scrooge?
What the fuck? What? Like, what?
Part of growing up is knowing when to discard old jokes. I don't think the time has come for this one yet.
What are you talking about? Wait a minute, hang on. The time hasn't come for this one yet, is what every single old person who isn't letting go of old jokes has said about their old jokes.
Well, Nick, I am old now. I'm turning 30 this year, and I still have an anime podcast.
So am I, Liam. So am I.
Hello,
Truly.
East Dorm, second floor. I was really hoping, and this is maybe just because I've been watching Riverdale because it's back.
Yep.
Cheryl Blossom on the most recent episode answered a phone in her house, and it was one of those old-timey speaker and listener are separate objects.
Oh, so like it has the pole with the thing on it, and then you take the
And I
little...
was very much hoping that the phone in Utena's dorm would be one of those, but it's a standard 90s era rotary phone.
Alas. Alas. It is true to the era of the 90s. So she gets a call from someone mysterious.
A mysterious voice that is obviously Kiryu
that just says, Anthe is...
has been kidnapped.
has been kidnapped. And she's like, what? Where? It's like, go to the dueling arena.
And she's like, who is this?
Is this end of the world? And then... Doot, doot.
Night shots of the entrance to the dueling arena as Anthe's like, you're hurting me, Sionji.
And then
Stop it.
Sionji basically is like, I know. I'm always hurt emotionally, and now you feel my pain.
We're going up to the Sky Castle now, but it is forbidden to take me to the dueling arena without a duel scheduled. And also, you don't have me right now.
So how can you possibly appease the rules?
Yeah, this is the rules.
And he looks at her and it's like, how dare you?
And
you know our love is invincible, and just...
He's got his sword sheathed and he hits her with it.
With, might I add, a massive slapping sound.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's just slapped her with his hand, and he's like, our love is destined.
She's like, little do you realize my face has developed a strong callus from frequent slaps, and you're incapable of hurting me.
She headbutts him, but with her cheek.
No, none of that happens. She is hurt. Utena is running up, trying to catch up, and she trips over the unconscious body of Sayonji, whose face is face down in one of the pools next to the pathway.
Now, that would normally kill a man, but in this case, we're not so sure.
In this case, he's fine, and he wakes up with just some brisk slapping on the face from Utena. Turnabout being fair play, after all.
Of course. So she slaps him.
Wake up!
Slaps him a whole bunch, and then he's like, what? Huh?
And she's like, where's Himamaya? And he's like, what?
What?
I've just been knocked out.
Where's Auntie?
So this is what I was talking about in the productional note. We basically have no idea what's going on here, right?
Yes, more or less.
Kiryu seems to have some hand in it, but the actual events of what has happened are entirely opaque to me. Because he's unconscious, and Anthe has been taken up to the arena. And when we get up there, when they both run up there, we are unfortunately spared from a two-person absolute destiny apocalypse climbing the stairs sequence.
They just run the fuck up there, no transformation sequence, and they find...
Anthe is in there. There's a huge, red rose structure, it seems to be made of a sort of red stone or crystal. And there's a coffin in there, not unlike the coffins from Utena's youth.
Flashback thing.
Yeah. And in that coffin, in a bed of white flowers, is an unconscious fetal position Anthe.
And she is grasping something in her hands,
Or I
or
think
just
she's
praying
clasping her hands together. She's in her red dual officiating dress.
And she is asleep or unconscious or something.
Yeah, or
And then
tranced.
Sayonji just goes, oh, it is my love, I must save her.
And then huge pillars of bricks climb out of the ground, taking the first one takes the rose platform with it. Then Utena goes up on another one.
And there's quite a few of these pillars emerging from the ground. Or should I say, the above ground.
And then the sky castle starts to shake, and bricks fall from it. And then it seems to collapse and crush Kiryu, but then he's...
You mean Sayonji?
Sorry, Sayonji. Yep. But then he's also fine.
Well, not yet, but yes. At the end of this, he will still live.
He's like, end of the world, keep your promise to me.
And then he keeps his promise by crushing him with a discarded piece of the castle.
And then the big pillar that Utena is on starts to crumble away from the base up. So she has to jump from pillar to pillar and rescue Anthe from the open coffin. And it's all... I want to emphasize, it's all very cool.
It's fucking rad, but the thing is, once Sayonji's crushed, we're like, shit, he's just dead. Utena jumps over all these pillars...
Huge ups, big basketball legs.
Jumps in towards the big red crystal, which explodes into rose petals.
And their hands grasp like in the OP.
And then there's a big fade into white as everything just kind of goes into that big windy...
And then the sky castle is back and it's normal.
Sayonji has his eyes wide open as if he's just been abducted by aliens and come back from the brink. And just like, what the fuck just happened?
What? And then... Utena is cradling the unconscious Anthe, like, hey, wake up, wait, not slapping her on the face. And then in his brain, his sinister traitor's brain, Sayonji is like, it was supposed to be me. I have to kill them all.
So he takes his sword.
The power must be mine. That's the only way I can overcome him.
He takes his sword, unsheathes it, Anthe kind of just wakes up and is like, Utena,
we're okay.
I'm so glad to see you
then,
again.
Everything's lit in red, and he's standing above them, raises his sword above his head, not to strike a rose from someone's breast, but to kill someone with a sword.
What? That's the intended purpose of a sword. So he goes
and there's a quick cut to that cross atop of the chapel where her parents died.
And we get...
Everything is very, very red.
Big red, and then a fourth body.
Big red and pink rose frame, crucially.
And there's a big new body that seems to get in between where Sayonji has slashed and Utena.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of flashbacks to the scene with Utena in the coffin and Sayonji just being there and Kiryu just playing with her hair. And then we get flashes of everyone's faces. We see...
And Kiryu has been struck in the back by a sword.
Oh my god.
And he's like...
He leapt in between us.
Why would you do this? And he's like, because your prince was a guy like me, right?
And Utena's like, what the fuck? Sayonji
drops his sword.
Drops the sword, basically collapses and is like...
Why do you always beat me?
And Kiryu's like,
because I'm cool.
So then we fade away, and then...
Before we move on, I do want to quickly highlight Kiryu's flashback outfit. I don't know if you noticed it. It's like a green shirt that's like green long sleeve button up shirt, very fancy.
Sure.
And then tiny denim cut off jeans.
Yeah.
It's quite an outfit. serious vibe.
Look, it was the 90s, okay? There were a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that just flipped back in on themselves and became excellent, like his costume.
So why don't you describe this phone call that, in the present, Kiryu's making now?
Kiryu is sitting on his bed.
It's one of
which
those
has-
four-poster beds with like a big lace curtain around it.
And we could see through the lace curtain, there are three female figures that are adorned on him, being like,
Our special boy. He's a black silhouette, but the bandage binding his chest is bright white.
and the three girls are just
There.
probably doing, things.
Doing the things that Kiryu likes to do.
Of course. And then he's on the phone.
And he's like, yes, I sent the letter to Sayonji tonight. Heh heh heh.
Yes, I addressed it as from the end of the world.
Yes. I suppose I do have a flair for the dramatic.
Yes, Sayonji's been expelled.
Ha ha ha.
Everything's going according to plan.
And then he's like, a person who believes in friendship is truly a fool. I'm an intelligent psychopath.
Ka-chink, doot, doot, doot.
The end.
The episode ends?
Yeah.
My god. What a fucking asshole!
What a ride these two episodes were. Serious mood whiplash.
From, we got the secret curry to
Body switching
to
shenanigans.
to anti-Freaky Friday you, to, yes, I betrayed my one true friend.
For nebulous means. Why is he doing this?
No one fucking knows.
Deep Cars energy.
My god. What the fuck?
Nick, highlights and lowlights.
My highlight is probably gonna have to be, I just want to
There's
say...
a lot to choose from.
I know. So, oh man.
Nick, I think I have my highlight.
Okay.
My highlight is the sequence of the pillars and the Sky Castle collapsing and Utena saving Anthe. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm here for it.
Okay, well, I'll just pick a dumb one then. I thought my highlight was selling the photos
That was pretty good.
to Kiryu specifically, because Kiryu, of all people, you'd be all like, really?
There's a really good production note that we'll cover probably next week about how, they didn't want to feel restricted by having, this be a serious character and this be a joke character. And they wanted to give them, personality enough that they could seamlessly switch between those two. And I feel like
Right.
that scene is a really good example of how they've done that.
Yeah, where it's like, he's a brooding fellow who's, trying to...
Manipulate everyone.
Yeah. And so this is just and he's still kind of brooding here, but it's very funny that he's doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lowlights.
Or like in the other episode where they were having a serious discussion about Juri's motivations, but also just throwing knives at each other.
Yeah. Lowlight, Liam.
Low light. Interesting.
My lowlight is probably just going to be Sayonji collapsed in the water for
Face down reason.
who knows why.
My assumption is that Kiryu knocked him out.
Maybe, but still seems very odd. Yeah. Because in that moment I was like, hey, what's happened here? But then we don't really get any explanation as to how it happened, or whether Kiryu truly was the one doing it, or if there was something more at play.
My low light is, I think, and maybe this is just a built-up expectation of genre, but I feel like the body switch was kind of treated as no big deal, really. Not often in a body switch story,
They freak out and just go, oh my god.
no, but there's a lesson to be learned and different perspectives from different lives, and they've got to figure out how the other person lives.
Yeah.
They just kind of seamlessly keep doing their own thing.
Yeah. Well, just think about it.
It seemed like such a good opportunity for Anthe to learn something about being like Utena. Maybe that's too early for this.
Oh yeah. Way too it. We still have 30 episodes to go.
But there's, we're getting near the end of the first 13 episode arc.
But just consider for a moment that there's also a big upside down sky castle where we do duels with other members of the student council.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, there's not really many places you go from there other than, well, alright, I guess now we're swap bodies. Cool.
So, Nick,
Yes.
what do we think is going to happen next time on Revolutionary Girl Utena in Season 1, Episode 10?
10?
Yep.
Oh. Shit, we are getting towards the end. Oh no.
Nanami's Precious One.
Okay. So we know that we're gonna have a duel.
We know that... Okay, I think I've got a pretty strong picture of what's going to happen here.
Okay. Even though I'm making the predictions, but go on.
I'm also making the predictions. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Keep up.
Here's my predictions.
Okay.
We are going to have Nanami just fucking break because Kiryu keeps talking about Utena.
Yeah.
So she finally is like, that's it.
Sword fight.
I'm going to sword fight you for the one thing you seem to hold dear in much the same way that the one thing I hold dear is my brother. I see you around with that Anthe girl. You know what? I'm going to make her mine. I'm going to do it.
Oh, I'm going to take the Rose Bride from you.
Exactly.
And then my brother will have to pay attention to me.
Because Anthe will be mine. And he's only interested in the power of the Rose Bride. I know this for a fact.
Because I've been listening to him in my World War II listening bunker.
Now, I think that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure she's going to be like, how do I get back? And then Kiri will be all like, oh, I just wish I had the Rose Bride. And then Nanami in her scheming ways will be like, I have an idea of how to do that. And then try and duel her and then probably fail. But you never know. Maybe she'll find a way to win and then we'll have a weird, awkward, but I don't think it'll happen. Not this episode.
Okay.
I suspect something like the last episode of the season, Utena will lose, but I don't know.
Nah, not the last episode of the season. Maybe like the first one before that.
Definitely last episode of the season.
Broad strokes, I think I agree with your next episode prediction.
Yep.
But I also think there's going to be an extensive sequence of Kiryu trying to capitalize on this doubt he's sown into Utena's heart. Like, is he the prince? Do I love him because he's the prince? He's a chivalrous guy. And then she'll come to a realization that over this episode or the next one, that he's scum.
Like, as
And then they'll have a sword fight.
yeah, the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
This has been JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Recap and Discussion podcast.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably don't have the new theme music ready yet, but it's coming soon. Stay tuned.
So soon.
I like what Nick's been putting together.
It only took us fucking
6 episodes,
Yep.
TBC.
probably more than 4 months of trying to be all like, what's the new theme gonna
Just
be?
a reminder that we have pivoted patreon.com/JoJo's World to a tip jar format, where I think the only tangible benefit we'll be offering for the foreseeable future is
Very infrequent bullshit.
and top of episode shoutouts.
Yeah.
And also, we'll probably be putting our infrequent bullshit on the main feed, just because in consideration of like our listener numbers and Patreon numbers, and just like trying to make this show the best it can be.
Indeed.
Hashtag love of the game.
Hell fucking
I've
yeah.
been Liam S. Smith reporting for JoJo's World.
And I've been El Montenegro de la Suende, also reporting for Jojo de la Suelde.
And that's the end of the last episode of JoJo's World.
So until next time,
To be continued.